Director Cal Maddock already has one of the worst films of 2023 with his remake of House Party. Now he takes another early 90s beloved classic and turns it into garbage. Let's talk about White Men Can't Jump. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my spoiler-free review for the new Hulu original film White Men Can't Jump. This, of course, is a remake of the 1992 film starring Woody Harrelson, Wesley Snipes, and Rosie Perez. And here we swap them out with multi-platinum rap star Jack Harlow in his screen debut here, and then also Cinqua Walls. They're sort of the two leads here. But before we launch into my thoughts on this movie, I sort of hinted to them in the intro, right? But I do want to welcome you into Dan Reviews It. Thank you for finding this video. We've got a ton of great stuff on the channel, movie reviews, TV reviews, and I try to drop something new just about every day for you. So please consider subscribing down below, hit that notification button, or just like this video, comment on it, or share it on your socials. That all does help the channel out. All right, so before I even launch into the new version of this, which, like I said, you can catch on Hulu. It is an original film for them. I want to make it clear, I have not actually watched the original. It came out when I was in high school, so I probably should have seen it, right? But I didn't see it in theaters, and we didn't have cable at the time, so it just missed me all of these years. And I thought about doing a compare and contrast. I've done that in the last few years with some of these remakes. I did it with Valley Girl and Firestarter, ones that I had never seen the original, watch that, compare it to the new one. But I saw that this was getting really bad reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, so I thought, well, it might be a little unfair for me to watch the original and, see if it holds up or whatever. I like those actors, so I thought I'll just leave this be and kind of, go into it with fresh eyes, and not do a whole compare and contrast thing, because I figured that would be more fair to this version. And then I learned that the director, Cal Maddock, did the awful House Party movie from earlier this year, which I gave a D to. It's in my bottom 5 so far for the year, probably bottom 3, really. Or something like that, bottom 3 or 4. But so in this version, you've got Jack Harlow, like I said, the famous rapper, so people may know him from that, but not really from his acting. He stars as Jeremy, who is a former basketball star, but his career stalled due to an injury, and that is why he can't jump. That's, the basis for the title. I don't believe that's what really happened in the original, but again, I didn't see it, so I don't know. I think it was more of a, Wesley Snipes kind of, S-talking him a little bit. And then Cinqua Walls, who I was sort of unfamiliar with to see him, but it turns out he was in a handful of episodes of Friday Night Lights back in the day, but that was like 15 years ago, so I didn't recognize him in this. But he plays Kamal, who is a promising player at one time at the game, but he derailed his own future with some shenanigans and things he should not have been doing, and ended up in jail. And so the two of these guys kind of link up and are juggling their relationships and the struggles, both internally and externally with, their significant others and their familial relationships. And speaking of which, you've got Lance Reddick here too, as the father of Kamal, and this is one of his last roles. We saw him just recently in John Wick Chapter 4, but he passed away just a few months ago. So he does have a couple more things on the horizon, but this will be one of his last, I guess. So Jack Harlow, look, I vaguely knew his music, but he hosted SNL earlier this year, and I thought he did a terrible job. It was very unfunny. His comic timing is 0. And so when I heard that he was going to be starring in this, I thought, look, I've never seen the original, but Woody Harrelson has, charm for miles. I've never seen him give a bad performance, even in a subpar movie. And there's never been an actor he doesn't have chemistry with. So even though I'm not really doing a compare and contrast with these two movies, because I've never seen the original, Woody Harrelson, I have to imagine, was miles better than this. Jack Harlow is horrible in this movie. He has, like I said, no comic timing, and really, the script is not great either. There's not a ton of great jokes to have comedic timing with. There's a couple of like minor, like, okay, that's a little bit. I wouldn't even say clever, but maybe funny. Um, and this was co-written, by the way, by Kenya Barris, who created the TV show Blackish, and subsequently Grownish and Mixedish, all the ish shows. And Doug Hall is the other one who did the screenplay. Um, and Ron Shelton, who created the original White Man Can't Jump, he is given a story credit here as well. But I don't know how much he really had to do with the making of this movie, other than just sort of being on hand to give over the rights or whatever. But in any event, uh let's go back to the horrible performance. So not only does he give a bad performance, but because of that, and he's mumbling his lines, it's not a good performance. We've seen a lot of rappers turned actors, and some of them are still going strong. Some of them have been doing roles on police TV shows for a long time. LL Cool J and Ice-T come to mind, certainly. But there were a lot of rap, and in the early '90s when the original was out, there was a lot of rappers turning in very good dramatic performances in New Jack City and stuff like that. And this guy, look, he might be a great rapper. I only know a couple of his songs, but he does not have it in the acting game. I really just, and he had no chemistry because of that with his co-star. And again, didn't see the original, but I have to imagine that the chemistry between those two leads, sort of at the prime of their career, was just off the charts. Here, you didn't get that at all. And so even if the original never existed or whatever, these guys would still have no chemistry. And then aside from that, the story is just so very basic and bland and almost sanitized. This is an R-rated movie because there's some language stuff, but it really seems like a very sanitized version. Not that there's not stakes, yes, there's some relationship turmoil and struggles with, the family. The Lance Reddick character is, got a terminal illness, and so there's, some mild stakes there, but there's nothing that we not only haven't seen before, but way, way better all around. And so going back to the script for a second, this is supposed to be a comedy, and there were maybe a couple of insights on race and stuff that, okay, probably would have played a little bit better 10, 20, 30 years ago. Now they just kind of seem stale. There's sort of a little bit of a running gag about the black guy likes Ed Sheeran. And so that becomes sort of a little bit throughout the movie. And then also the romance stuff. The girls are almost barely in this movie. And okay, you love basketball more than you love me. Like that's the big. I mean, yeah, there's a couple other things, but like that's sort of the basis for it. Whereas, again, I hate saying I'm not comparing it to the original, even though I sort of am. But I can't imagine the Rosie Perez character was a wallflower in that movie, right? She's always so outspoken in her roles, and here the females are just wallpaper. Like I just I couldn't even tell you what was going on really with them. And I will say they were played by Tiana Taylor and Laura Harrier. And I've seen Tiana Taylor in things before. She has been in different music videos, and she's I don't know, a model or something maybe, but I've seen her before. But she was just a spare part in this movie. So really, this is easily one of the worst movies of the year. Calmatic has done it again. He's 0 for 2 here in a really, really big way. Interestingly enough, the original White Man Can't Jump is on Hulu as well. So, you could watch this one or you could watch that one. And even if you've seen that one before, I think that's probably going to be the way to go. I leave the 2023 White Men Can't Jump with an F. if they had only gotten someone with some talent in that lead, if they wanted to do a white rapper, Lil Dicky, who plays Dave on the FX show, very funny dude. Get him in there to do some good, comedic timing. He could maybe probably improv some stuff too. Since the script wasn't really doing us any favors, right? So, just terrible, terrible all around. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Dan Reviews It. Bye.